Thank you. We may now proceed with the anthems. Thank you. We may all be seated. Honorable Ministers, Excellencies, distinguished delegates, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the SADC Council of Ministers meeting. My name is Barbara Lopi from the SADC Secretariat, and I'm honored to be directing this opening session of the SADC Council of Ministers. The SADC Council of Ministers, established under Article 11 of the SADC Treaty, plays an important role in guiding our regional community. It is within this council that SADC policies are shaped, programs are steered, and the vision of our heads of state is transformed into tangible outcomes. Honorable Ministers, Excellencies, distinguished delegates, without further ado, allow me to recognize our gracious host this morning, the chairperson of the SADC Council of Ministers, Honorable Mr. Ronald Lamola, Minister of International Relations and Cooperation of the Republic of South Africa. A bit of applause for our host. Thank you. I would like to recognize Honorable Mlambo Haimbe, State Council MP, Minister of Foreign Affairs and International Cooperation of the Republic of Zambia, who is the incoming chairperson of this SADC Council of Ministers. I recognize also Honorable Professor Mthuli Ncube, Minister of Finance, Economic Development and Investment Promotion of the Republic of Zimbabwe, who is representing the outgoing chairperson of the SADC Council of Ministers, Honorable Professor Amon Muwira, who is the Minister of Foreign Affairs and International Trade of Zimbabwe. I warmly welcome all honorable ministers and deputies present here and extend special recognition to His Excellency Mr. Elias Mpedi Mahosi, the Executive Secretary of SADC. I acknowledge Ambassador Tebo Siokolo, Deputy Director General in the Department of International Relations and Cooperation of the Republic of South Africa, who is the chairperson of the Standing Committee of Senior Officials of SADC. I recognize all senior officials present here, ambassadors and high commissioners from SADC member states here represented, as well as the SADC deputy executive secretaries, the SADC secretariat staff, and staff from the government of the Republic of South Africa. You are all mostly welcome. I want to recognize my colleagues, the members of the press, who are here to ensure that the discussions of this meeting are communicated to the public. Our program is as follows. We will begin with introductory remarks from the Executive Secretary of SADC, His Excellency Mr. Elias Mpedi Mahosi, who will then usher in the Minister from the Republic of South Africa, the chairperson of this council, Honorable Mr. Ronald Lamola, to deliver his welcome remarks and officially open this meeting. At this point, I now invite the Executive Secretary of SADC, His Excellency Mr. Elias Mpedi Mahosi, to come and deliver the remarks from the podium. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Madam Barbara Lopi, our Director of Proceedings. Honorable Mr. Ronald Lamola, the Minister of International Relations and Cooperation of the Republic of South Africa, and the Chairperson of the Council of Ministers of SADC. Honorable Mr. Mulambo Haimbe, CMP, the Minister of Foreign Affairs and International Cooperation of the Republic of Zambia, and incoming chairperson of the SADC Council. Honorable Professor Mthuli Ncube, Minister of Finance, Economic Development and Investment Promotion of the Republic of Zimbabwe, who is standing in for the chairperson, the outgoing chairperson of SADC Council, Professor Amon Muwira. Honorable Ministers and Deputy Ministers in our midst, Ambassador Tebo Siokolo, Deputy Director General of the Department of International Relations and Cooperation, DECO, of the Republic of South Africa, and our Chairperson of the Standing Committee of Senior Officials. My dear colleagues, senior officials from the SADC member states, ambassadors, and high commissioners in our midst, my colleagues, deputy executive secretaries, the staff of the government of the Republic of South Africa, and the SADC Secretariat, members of the Fourth Estate, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. Good morning. It is an honor and an immense privilege to welcome you to this ordinary meeting of the SADC Council of Ministers, held today, the 12th of March 2026, here in Pretoria, the administrative capital of the Republic of South Africa. I wish to thank you sincerely, honorable ministers, for availing time from your busy schedules to attend this important meeting, which is primarily a budgeting session in our regional calendar. I also wish to extend a very special welcome to the honorable ministers joining the Council physically for the first time. We look forward to benefiting from your insights and newer perspectives to enrich our deliberations and our quest to achieve deeper regional integration and socio-economic development. Today, we marvel at the remarkable achievements of the region in the recent past. Just a few months ago, in November of last year to be precise, South Africa made history by hosting the Group of 20, or G20 Summit, as it's often called, the first ever on the African soil. This milestone is a resounding declaration and a clear demonstration that Africa is ready to lead global conversations and give direction, that Africa is ready to restore the much threatened spirit of solidarity and multilateralism that has defined the world for decades. We extend our gratitude to the government and the people of South Africa for this remarkable feat. We also congratulate South Africa on her election as the chair of the African Union Peace and Security Council from April 26, 2020 to 2028, alongside the Kingdom of Lesotho, strengthening the voice and representation of the region in advancing peace, security, and stability of our continent. In the same celebratory spirit, on the 8th of March, just a few days ago, the world celebrated International Women's Day, themed Rights, Justice, Action for all women and girls. In Southern Africa, this theme resonates deeply with the women who cross borders daily to trade and sustain their families, and to those who lead and influence global priorities. As SADC, we are proud to be the only region in the African continent currently with 2 serving female heads of state, a clear demonstration of the region's commitment to placing women and girls at the center of our development agenda. To all women here and across our region, may your courage continue to light the path for generations to come. A happy Women's Month to you all. On yet another happy note, today marks a milestone for the Republic of Mauritius for attaining 58 years of independence, and 33 of which they have been a republic. This journey of resilience and unity should be an inspiration to all of us. A happy Independence Day to you, Mauritius. Honourable Ministers, your meeting today is held under the theme of the 45th SADC Summit, titled Advancing Industrialisation, Agriculture Transformation, Energy Transition for a Resilient SADC. This theme reflects our shared commitment to modernizing agriculture, investing in clean energy, and building a stronger, resilient region. From the agricultural transformation perspective, several interventions and actions have been undertaken, honourable ministers, at the regional and national levels to implement the SADC industrialization strategy and roadmap and its action plan, as well as to address some factors impeding progress on agro-processing and value chain. To improve productivity and competitiveness of the agricultural value chain and increase level of private sector investment, The Regional Agricultural Investment Plan of 2017 to 2022 was revised to a new Regional Agri-Food Investment Plan to place agro-industrialization and value chain development as key areas of focus. I'm also happy to report that in fisheries and aquaculture, the implementation of the SADC Regional Aquaculture Strategy is bearing immediate results in the region, with an increase in fish production from 122,000 tons in 2022 to 192 tons in 2024. We have also witnessed policy reforms as part of the implementation of the SADC Regional Model Policy Framework for the leather value chains, which seek to turn livestock resources into opportunities for diversification and competitiveness through increased production and trade intermediates and leather products in the region. 6 member states have already domesticated this model policy. To enhance the regional manufacturing of essential medical products and commodities, the region has since launched the SADC Pooled Procurement Services to consolidate the procurement of medicines and health commodities. This collective approach is designed as a win-win towards lower cost, improved efficiency, and access to affordable medical products and essential commodities across member states, as well as for regional manufacturing. Regional assessments conducted by the Secretariat have shown that the lack of regional preference in the procurement of pharmaceutical products and commodities is a big hindrance to regional manufacturing. In mining, Honourable Ministers, our challenge has never been scarcity, but value addition. While our region is significantly endowed with minerals, inclusive of those considered to be of relevance to energy transition such as cobalt, copper, and manganese, among many others, regrettably, they still leave our borders in raw form. In 2019, the region developed and adopted the SADC Regional Mining Vision and its action plan. This vision, therefore, seeks to reposition the mining sector as a catalyst for industrialization by strengthening linkages between mining and downstream industries, including mineral beneficiation, equipment mining, and downstream industries, including related services. As part of the implementation of the vision, 20 potential regional projects worth an estimated 2.3 billion have been assessed as valuable investment projects, focusing on manufacturing of batteries, mining inputs, mining equipment, among many others. We are also currently finalizing the revision and amendment of the SADC Protocol on Mining with the Ministers of Mining or Minerals, which has been in force since 2000, to align it with our regional mining vision as a decisive shift towards local processing, value addition, and equitable growth. The adoption of the Critical Minerals Framework at the G20 Summit marks a turning point, as it gives us leverage to reshape global supply chains and ensure that our resources fuel prosperity at home rather than abroad. Honourable Ministers, trade integration is advancing. Intra-SADC trade in manufactured goods has risen modestly from 19% to 22%. Currently, reflecting progress in market integration and value chain development. This momentum is further strengthened by Angola and the Democratic Republic of Congo joining the free trade area alongside 13 other member states. Yet, much remains to be done. Chief among our priorities is the elimination of non-tariff barriers, which continue to constrain the full potential of regional trade. The introduction of the electronic certificate of origin in 2022 and the establishment of one-stop border posts are breaking down barriers, making it easier for small-scale traders who account for up to 60% of cross-border commerce, to thrive. These traders are not a mere statistic. They are mothers, they are fathers, and they are young entrepreneurs whose livelihoods depend on seamless and painless trade. When they succeed, this builds into our collective success as a region. Energy access remains central to our regional development. While Mauritius, Seychelles, and South Africa have nearly achieved universal access to electricity, much of our region still lags, with weighted average access below 60%, and some member states even below 30%. Behind these statistics as well are human stories. Children studying by candlelight, businesses unable to grow, and communities left in the dark. At present, coal accounts for 59% of the region's electricity generation, hydropower 24%, while low carbon sources such as solar, wind, and natural gas have risen modestly to 12% over the past decade. This message, or the message from the recent Sustainable Energy Week in Zimbabwe, was clear. We must accelerate access. Harnessing solar rooftops, mini-grids, and innovative solutions is not just about infrastructure. It is about dignity, opportunity, and hope. To boost cross-border power trading, share surplus energy, and reduce deficit, the region has made progress in connecting the remaining mainland member states, being Angola, Malawi, and the United Republic of Tanzania, to the Southern Africa Power Pool, grid. Malawi-Mozambique interconnector is in its final commissioning stage. Tanzania-Zambia interconnector is scheduled for completion by 2028, and efforts to connect Angola through Namibia are advancing with financial structuring underway. These projects will reduce congestion, enhance electricity trade, and bring our region closer to universal access. Honourable Ministers, we now stand at the midpoint of implementing the Regional Indicative Strategic Development Plan, or RSDP 2020-2030, our blueprint for integration. The recent midterm evaluation confirms that the RSDP remains strategically sound and aligned with our long-term vision. Yet, implementation has been constrained, among others, by financing shortfalls. To reduce this gap, the Secretariat has been mobilizing resources from diverse partners. With evolving geopolitical and declining traditional support, we are diversifying and enhancing partnerships. Still, reliance on external funding exposes our projects to external shocks, sustainability, and weakens ownership. The Regional Development Fund offers a homegrown mechanism. To date, 9 member states have signed the agreement. And of these, while Angola, Zambia, and Zimbabwe have ratified the same, we require 8 more ratifications to meet the 2/3 threshold. I therefore plead with member states to expedite the signing and ratification of the agreement so that together we can unlock the RDF's full potential and ensure our regional programs are driven by sustainable, homegrown financing. Honourable Ministers, the world is shifting. The current geopolitical storm is a stark reminder that we must be deliberate and shift gears. We must be closer and more united, and we must be innovative. The RDF is our vehicle for transformation. Without it, we stand still, and with it, we can boldly move forward together. Consolidating peace and security remains a top priority. Without stability, industrialization falters, investment declines, and our visions of 2050 slips beyond the reach. The region continues to engage actively in addressing the situation in both the Democratic Republic of Congo and Madagascar. Over the past 5 months, SADC, working alongside the East African community, has supported the EAC SADC panel of facilitators in the Eastern DRC under the matched AU-led Luanda and Nairobi processes. In Madagascar, calm has not yet been fully restored following the protests that led to the change of leadership back in October last year. SADC deployed the panel of elders led by Her Excellency Dr. Joyce Banda, former President of Malawi, supported by the Mediation Reference Group, to facilitate dialogue and restore stability. On the margins of the 39 African Union Assembly, I also met with the African Union Special Envoy on Madagascar to strengthen collaboration in support of Madagascar's path to sustained peace. Natural disasters, Honourable Ministers, continue to test our resilience and agility. Recent floods across the region have affected over 1.3 million people in 7 of our member states, displaced more than 100,000 people, and claimed more than 285 lives. In response, Madagascar, Mozambique, and South Africa declared states of disaster and appealed for international solidarity. The destruction of infrastructure is not just statistics. It is broken pathways to progress and interrupted dreams. Through the SADC Emergency Operations and Humanitarian Center, or SHOC for short, our regional hub for disaster preparedness, response, and recovery, we deployed teams to reinforce national efforts, enhance coordination, and guide recovery. It is therefore crucial that the SHOC remains adequately resourced and fully operational so that it can continue driving coordination, supporting resilient recovery, and building collective strength against future disasters. What resonated most during the recent crisis were the stories of solidarity, neighbors opening their homes, families sharing scarce resources, and member states supporting one another in the enduring spirit of Ubuntu. In times of hardship, our greatest strength remains compassion, unity, and shared unity. On food security, acute food insecurity is projected to affect 58 million people in 25-26, a 16% decline from 24-25. Yet, the spread of foot and mouth disease poses a grave threat to livestock, to trade, and food security. Addressing this requires decisive action, intensified surveillance, harmonized vaccination campaigns, and mobilized resources to protect farmers and economies. At the same time, bold investments in climate-smart agriculture, modern irrigation, and resilient seed varieties, and strong extension services are essential to secure sustainable growth. Beyond the immediate crisis, we must strengthen how we tell our regional story. Last August, Council approved the SADC Communication Awareness and Visibility Strategy, whose success depends heavily, again, on collaboration. Together, we must translate SADC policies into public education and share our region's untold stories. To the media, bring Council outcomes to life through human interest stories of farmers thriving through regional trade, young enterprise navigating harmonized markets, and traders benefiting from simplified regimes. Integration is ultimately about people, about their dignity, opportunities, and their dreams. As we look forward, it is equally important to honor the past. On the 23rd of this month, we will commemorate the Southern Africa Liberation Day, a day set aside by SADC to honor the millions of men and women who sacrificed their lives for the freedom that we enjoy today. I urge member states to organize national activities that celebrate this milestone in our shared history and inspire future generations with the legacy of our liberation. As I conclude, I extend my sincere gratitude to the Standing Committee of senior officials under the leadership of my brother, Ambassador Tebogo Siokolo, for the thoughtful and thorough deliberations as we prepared for Council. I also wish to acknowledge my colleagues, Deputy Executive Secretaries, and the entire staff of Secretariat whose dedication and commitment have been instrumental in driving progress through the 25-26 financial year. With that little account of the region's progress, Honorable Ministers, it is now my honor to invite Honorable Ronald Lamola, the Minister of International Relations and Cooperation of this great republic, and the chairperson of the SADC Council of Ministers, to deliver his remarks. I thank you for attention. Muito obrigado. Merci beaucoup. Asante sana. Ya leboha. Honorable Minister.
Thank you very much, Executive Secretary, for the introduction. Honorable Professor Amun Mwira, the Minister of Foreign Affairs and International Trade of the Republic of Zimbabwe, here today represented by Professor Mthuli Mncube, the Minister of Finance of Zimbabwe, as the outgoing chairperson of the SADC Council of Ministers. Honorable Mlambo Haimbe, the Minister of Foreign Affairs of the Republic of Zambia, and the interim incoming chairperson of SADC Council of Ministers. Honorable ministers and heads of delegations from all member states. Your Excellency, Mr. Elias Mpedi Mahosi, the Executive Secretary of SADC, the Chairperson of the Standing Committee of Senior Officials, Ambassador Tebuko Siokolo, the SADC Deputy Executive Secretaries, senior officials, and experts from member states, the SADC Secretariat staff, the DERCO host staff, and members of the media who have joined us here today. Ladies and gentlemen, good morning and welcome to South Africa. I'm just checking if you are awake. I warmly welcome you to this regular session of the Council of Ministers of the Southern African Development Corporation, held here in South Africa. I hope that your travel to our country was smooth, and I wish you a pleasant stay here in South Africa. I believe that the senior officials have worked tirelessly over the past few days in preparation for this session. I convey our deep appreciation for their sterling work. We look forward to the presentation of their recommendations for the Council's consideration. We also extend our gratitude to the Executive Secretary and the Secretariat for the administrative and strategic support provided throughout these meetings. Distinguished colleagues, we meet at a time of growing economic and political complexity and uncertainty, both regionally and globally. The international system is marked by heightened geopolitical tensions, economic volatility, climate-induced shocks, and disruption to global supply chains. These pressures are compounded by a growing threat to territorial integrity and the sovereign equality of nations. At the same time, geopolitics and geoeconomics have become increasingly intertwined, with trade, technology, finance, food security, energy security, and climate policy all being used as instruments of strategic competition. We also have to take stock of progress made in regional peace and security in this meeting. We remain concerned of the escalating conflict and the displacement of communities in the Eastern DRC. SADC must remain seized with supporting all efforts to bring peace and stability in the Eastern DRC. We remain seized with supporting the process in Madagascar to restore civilian and democratic rule. In this regard, this Council must take stock on the progress being made to ensure that Madagascar holds this national dialogue to bring stability and to bring democratic elections within the 24 months commitment by the interim leadership of Madagascar. The 45th SADC Summit in Madagascar in August 2025 adopted the theme, Advancing Industrialization, Agricultural Transformation, and the Energy Transition for a Resilient SADC. This theme is both timely and relevant in the current geopolitical and regional context. The resilience of our region, and indeed of our continent, is once again being tested by developments beyond our borders. The current geopolitical climate, including the United States and Iran's war on Iran, and the Iran's retaliation within the GCC countries, is already sending shockwaves through our societies, threatening supply chains and energy shocks. Beyond the immediate impact of rising global oil prices, a spike in fertilizer costs is set to drive food prices up and further compromise food security across many of our countries. As a community, we will not emerge unscathed from this. Our public finances are likely to come under even a greater strain, and it's our people who will bear the cost. There is also a growing concern that the Gulf states may reassess overseas investments in infrastructure, critical minerals, energy, and technology, as their priorities shift towards internal defense and security considerations. These could carry consequences for investment flows, growth prospects, and the development finance across our region. Our region is facing these external shocks while already carrying a severe debt burden. Indeed, the African Leaders Debt Relief Initiative has described the present moment as the worst debt crisis in 8 years. Today, more than 750 million Africans live in countries that spend more on debt servicing than on health and education. In too many cases in our region, spending on interest payments far exceeds investment in schools, hospitals, and other social priorities. While we have used multilateral platforms and global partnerships to draw attention to these pressures and advocate concrete solutions, conflict on this scale can put the brakes on these efforts. It is no exaggeration to say that it threatens to deepen our vulnerabilities and further delay our development ambitions. Therefore, this meeting is very timely to help us respond to these realities and to continue to assess our progress on the RISDP. These setbacks come just as many of our economies are beginning to recover from the after effects of the COVID pandemic and the disruptions associated with the Russia-Ukraine war. You can already see the positive green shoots from South Africa, Zimbabwe, Zambia, and so forth in the economies. This raises major questions for the Council. What does it mean to pursue the vision of a resilient SADC in the face of these realities? What strategies can we use to insulate ourselves and protect our economies and the more than 380 million people of our region from these shocks? I welcome the inclusion of a dedicated agenda item for us to reflect on these geopolitical issues. Distinguished colleagues, my intention in setting out this context is not to lull us into pessimism On the contrary, I believe these realities make the case for regional cooperation and integration even more urgent. They also reinforce the agency of the implementation of the commitments undertaken under the SADC Vision 2050, which seeks to build a peaceful, inclusive, competitive, and high-income industrialized region, where citizens enjoy sustainable economic well-being, justice, and freedom. Honorable Ministers, citizens across Southern Africa expect regional cooperation to make tangible differences in their livelihoods, jobs, food security, energy and access, and disaster resilience. Meeting these expectations requires institutions that functions effectively and member states that gives legal and practical effects to commitments that we have undertaken through our protocols and the RISDP. This includes strengthening resource mobilization efforts, ratifying and giving effects to legal instruments that support regional cooperation, honoring commitments made with development partners, and leveraging the opportunities that arise from strategic partnerships. I also wish to take this opportunity to encourage member states to continue addressing the various constraints that still impede trade within our regions, particularly the non-tariff barriers. If we are to deepen regional integration and unlock shared responsibility and prosperity, we must work towards smoother, more predictable, and a mutual beneficial economic cooperation. The agenda before Council reflects both the breadth of our cooperation and the seriousness of the tasks before us. Among the key issues for considerations are the status of the organization's finances and progress on the resource mobilization framework and the operationalization of the SADC Regional Development Fund. These matters are at the heart of our community's credibility and our ability to move towards a common, prosperous future. A particularly important item before us in the midterm review of the Regional Indicative Strategic Development Plan, the RISDP 2020 to 2030. This is an opportunity not only to assess progress, but also to confront implementation gaps and sharpen our collective focus. Our region is becoming a major center of global attention as the world's leading economies intensify their search for critical minerals. The International Energy Agency projects that under its net zero scenario, demand for these minerals could increase fourfold by 2040. This presents a significant opportunity for our countries to accelerate industrialization, deepen beneficiation, and change the terms of our inclusion in the world economy. Our region is exceptionally well placed in this regard. We hold 90% of the global platinum group metals reserves, more than 50% of cobalt reserves, 20% of graphite reserves, and 10% of copper reserves. We have also shown collective resolve in seeking to overcome our disadvantaged positions in the global economy. The G20 Critical Minerals Framework, the African Green Mineral Strategy, domestic policy measures, including the SADC frameworks on critical minerals that have been advanced, all reflect a shared determination to move beyond the export of unprocessed raw materials. These Council of Ministers give us an opportunity to come up with a clear implementation plan and measures. The agreement reached by SADC Ministers of Minerals responsible on the margins also of the mining indaba is a further evidence that only through regional cooperation can we unlock the full value of our mineral endowment. The choice before us is clear, whether we engage the world from a position of unity and strength or approach it from a position of division and dependency. Esteemed colleagues, the continued relevance of the RISDP is equally clear. Steady growth of intra-regional trade from 19% to 22% from around 2019 does show that little by little we are moving forward. We just need to do more to increase this beyond just the 22%. Maybe we must be bold, Executive Secretary, and put a dream of a 50% regional integration and trade, and put measures that must enable us to reach this in the near future. I don't want to put the years because I may now become too bold. But I hope this Council of Ministers could put years by which we must reach at least 50% of regional trade. We are seeing important gains in digital expansion, with internet penetration now at 54%, and in regional integration and infrastructure through the rollout of the one-stop border posts. Energy security remains vital for industrialization. It is therefore encouraging that more than 14,000 megawatts of new generation capacity were added, while the share of renewables in the region energy mix rose from about 25% to 38%. These are important advances, but they also remind us of the scale of the work that still lies ahead. That if we put our heads and hands together, we can achieve more and do more. If we are to realize meaningful outcomes by 2030, we will need greater discipline, clearer priorities, and stronger execution. These include consistent follow-through on previous Council and Summit decisions, as well as sharper focus on higher impact flagship initiatives. The review is further strengthened by the accompanying risk assessment, which reminds us of the constraints under which we are operating: microeconomic volatility, climate shocks, limited fiscal space, and uneven implementation capacity across the region. These are not minor constraints. They are structural obstacles, and they reinforce the need for stronger coordination, better monitoring, and more effective implementation across the region. The work before us over the next 2 days is therefore of real importance. Its success will not be measured simply by the number of decisions we adopt, but by the progress we make in transforming our economies and improving the well-being of our people. Ultimately, our deliberations must translate into practical outcomes that expand opportunities, strengthen resilience, and deliver meaningful benefits to the citizens of our region. A young entrepreneur in Lusaka, a farmer in Lilongwe, the miner in Lubumbashi, a trader in Gaborone, a small business player or big business in Johannesburg are not primary concerns with adoptions of framework or strategies, including the workers. They are concerned with the execution and how it changed the economic of scales and their lives. And that is what we are called to do, including to regional stability. If integration remains a rhetorical issue, confidence in our common agenda will diminish. But if member states act decisively and implement agreed commitments effectively, our region has the potential to emerge as a dynamic force for industrial growth, innovation, and sustainable development. With these words, I declare this Council of Ministers meetings officially open and wish us productive deliberations. I thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Minister. Mr. Ronald Lamola, Minister of International Relations and Cooperation of the Republic of South Africa, and also Chairperson of the SADC Council of Ministers. We have listened to two very powerful speeches which will be made available to all delegates and to the media. We are now coming to the close